Welcome back. You are still watching Morning Live. We now take a look at your sport news in this hour. In terms of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, there are just 4 teams left. There are no African representatives, but it seems like the gap and the power dynamics are changing for the better as the gap between the traditional superpowers and the rest is getting smaller and smaller. Now, to help us talk about this, we've roped in the one and only Banyana Banyana head coach, Coach Desiree Ellis, who has just returned from the coalface of this tournament and is heading back again out to Australia and New Zealand for the final. Good morning, Coach Des. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports on Morning Live.
Good morning, V, and thanks for having me.
Coach, firstly, let's just start saying congratulations, because what a group you were in. I think at some point we were just like, are they going to get out of the group? Are they not going to get out of the group? But I mean, history was made, and I think we also just saw just that tenacity and that spirit of fighting you spoke about that this team has going into the World Cup. Overall, Coach, what do you make of what you were able to do out in Australia and New Zealand?
Look, if you look at the first game, we could have and maybe should have won it. The second game against Argentina as well. But this is a team that has a never-say-die attitude. This is a team that will play until the final whistle. This is a group of players that have been amazing over the last year. And I said they're going to do more amazing things. And they've certainly done it, you know. We have a backroom staff that work tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure, you know, that everything is in order. And together, I think, you know, we really done well. You know, you look at the Netherlands game, in the last 16, the goalkeeper gets player of the match. It tells you how well we played.
Indeed, Coach. And I mean, we look at the eventual results and how you eventually got out of the competition. A lot of South Africans talking and asking a lot of things. And I mean, I think because we've never been in your shoes and we've never been in the position of being in the technical team, we all become these outside experts. What do you make of some of the comments that have been made in terms of just the squad selection and the 11 that was going out on the day on various occasions?
Look, football is a matter of opinions, and, you know, there's always going to be opinions. You know, at the end of the day, we select the players, we trust the players that we put on the pitch, and we back the players 100%. You know, I think we also trust the process because, you know, we didn't start well, but we ended off reasonably well. So we trust the process, and, you know, we've selected a squad of players. The field where Johnny got injured, we had other players stepping up, you know. Then Bambanani, Jermaine got injured. We brought in players and they stepped up, and we selected a squad for every eventuality. And I think, you know, when we sit down with the technical team and we're busy putting together, discussing the lineup, you know, eventually I have to make the final decision. And I've got to stand by that, you know. I've got to back the players. No one's going to play a perfect game. There's going to be mistakes. But it doesn't mean if players make mistakes that all of a sudden you don't play them in the next game, because, you know, you've got to back them, you've got to support them, and you've got to make sure, you know, that you give them that backing and that confidence.
And Coach, I like how you say that at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make the decision, because at the end of the day, we as a nation will hold you accountable for the performance of this team. But let's talk to some of those changes that you made, forced changes, and how the team, as you rightly say, was able to just make do with what was happening on the field, with Refilwe Jani, with Jermaine, with Bambanani, just bringing in the young players. We saw a Wendy Shongwe coming on, and she was just fire on that pitch.
No, that's why, you know, that's why when we sit down and we select a squad, we go through all the different scenarios of, you know, the different formations we can play, where players can fit in, how they can help the team. You look at Wendy coming in, you look at Bongeka Kamedi starting out at centre-back. Then we didn't have Refilwe, we didn't have Kalosa, and, you know, Bongeka ended up playing as a DM, where she played before against Australia, you know, and that is the beauty of this team, the beauty of the players, that when you call on them and play them in a different position, you know, they can step up. Last night I was at the Varsity Cup. Bongeka played as a DM and got player of the match in the match, and our players are so multifunctional and so versatile that we, you know, we can play them in different positions. I think Jermaine played on the left, on the right, Hilda played on the left, on the right, etc. And they really stood up. So, you know, I've got to take my hat off to the players that really stood up through all the adversity, even when the injuries came. They stood up, you know. The staff was behind me while in the Italy game, while I was in the game. They were busy strategizing on, you know, what we should do, and came with a paper, and we went 3-5-2 because we needed to score that second goal, you know. So each and every individual that's part of Banyana Banyana plays their part.
Indeed, Coach. And as I start to begin to wrap up with you, Coach Des, let's talk about those world rankings. Because, I mean, we came into this and we were told the African nations are all ranked their lowest in their respective groups. But when we look at those rankings, would you say they are a true reflection of what we saw on the field of play? Because I think after some time we were like, okay, the defending champions are out, okay, Germany's out, and it was all these big powerhouses we were expecting to do so well that didn't get as far as one would have thought.
Look, I think, I don't know who's going to have a look at it, but the rankings need to be looked at, because the only countries that are higher ranked than us in Africa is Nigeria. So if you play a COSAFA, you win the COSAFA, you sometimes drop points. But the other countries, Europe and everywhere else, they get to play top countries on a regular basis. You know, they get to play, I mean, how many times has Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, England, Italy all play each other on a regular basis? And that's why their rankings shoot up all the time. You look at South Korea, who were ranked number 17, but, you know, lost to Morocco, you know, who were the second lowest ranked, you know, so second lowest ranked ahead of Zambia, got the results and, you know, got two wins. So that needs to be looked at. And now you have the Nations League in Europe, where these countries are going to play each other on a regular basis. So, you know, we're urging CAF for more tournaments. We're urging CAF for more competitions. I mean, they've done fantastic in also having the CAF Women's Champions League. But for us to take that one step further, also got to professionalize the game on the continent. I think that's going to be so key, because, you know, players will then train and play at a high intensity and be ready for all these matches which are in quick succession.
Indeed, and we do need to see this women's football in South Africa being professionalized, because we've seen what it's done for the likes of Morocco. But Coach, let's talk about the semi-finals. They start today. What are your predictions in terms of going into the first one? I know we thought we were going to get ahead of Sweden, but we didn't. So let's look at this first semi-final. Spain up against Sweden. What do you make of that matchup?
I think it's difficult to predict, as you've seen in the World Cup. You know, the USA going out early, Germany going out, Brazil going out of the group stages. I don't think anyone predicted that, and it's very difficult to predict. And it really shows that, you know, in this tournament, you've got to be on top of your game. You've got to make sure that you take your chances. You've got to make sure that you also like really steady at the back, you know. I think the one between Sweden and Spain, it's going to be a difficult game. I think Sweden have shown that there's a way that they play. They're very resilient. And when they start putting in those corner kicks, you know.
Those set pieces are a problem.
Every single team they've played against. You look at the first three corners against Italy were goals. Every team they've played against, they've given them problems. You also know Spain is going to have a lot of the ball. You know, they're going to have a lot of the ball. But Japan showed against Spain, you know, with a different strategy, you know, sitting back and hitting them on the counter. They showed that it's possible. Spain has never been this far. You know, they might not know how to do it being this far. Sweden has been this far before. They were also in the finals of the Olympic Games. And the way Sweden have played, they've shown a lot of resilience. But this is a once-off game, so very difficult to predict. A once-off game, I think the Swedish goalkeeper has been magnificent throughout the tournament. You know, against the US, she kept him in the game. You know, so she's been magnificent. It's going to take a similar performance. I think the experience of the Swedes might get them the nod, but you can never write off the Spanish team. You know, they have quality players. If you have someone like Putellas on the bench, who's the World Player of the Year, you have her on the bench, it says you have a quality team. You have Salma coming off the bench, this 19-year-old scoring goals. You have Jenny Amosa, you know, possibly also starting and getting some goals. I think it's going to be a very tense match. It's going to be a difficult match. And I think the team who sticks to their game plan, you know, will get the result. I think I'm going to put my head on the block and I'm going to say Sweden.
Okay, Coach Desiree Ellis going with Sweden. We'll see what happens tomorrow in the second semi-final clash between England as well as Australia. But Coach Des, thank you so much for your time this morning. Congratulations on what you've been able to do, and go enjoy some rest.
That's not possible. I'm traveling tomorrow again, V.
Well, at least you get to see family out in Australia. That is Coach Desiree Ellis, Banyana Banyana head coach, talking all things about the FIFA Women's World Cup. We saw, of course, South Africa's Banyana Banyana go all the way into the round of 16. In terms of what you can look forward to, SABC 3 will be bringing you the first semi-final clash this morning. That one kicks off at 10 a.m. Build-up starts at 9:30. That encounter will, of course, be Spain up against Sweden. And, of course, tomorrow we will see the co-hosts in Australia taking on England, who are looking to also become champions. The best thing about this World Cup is we will have a new champion no matter what happens, because all four teams have never won the FIFA Women's World Cup.